What's cracking, people? Angelic Mayhem here, and welcome to Mini Metro. This is a game that popped up on Steam, I would say about 2 to 3 weeks ago. It is an early access game, okay? So this is not a final product, and so this is not a review. This is basically just kind of an overview of what it is that this game is all about. And being a state of the beta, this is, just kind of an opportunity to look at this thing to see whether it's something that you want to take a look at or possibly buy. Mini Metro couldn't be any simpler. Basically, what the game is all about is they present you with a series of randomly assigned subway stations, and your job is to connect them using your lines. Okay, now during the course of this, it's a little bit different than it is in real life. Okay, in real life, when you're setting up a subway system, you actually have to look at where the humans are, and then look at which buildings are in the area that, and the cost to renovate those buildings. You have to dig up the basement and things like that. These are the kinds of considerations that you have to go through, and this game isn't really about that, okay? It's more about a challenging puzzle game where we randomly toss at you different things, and then you have to, kind of go with what you've been given. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of strategy to this game. Don't let its simplicity fool you, alright? Now, what I've done here is I've actually set up what I would consider to be the most efficient system, based on the fact that I've actually been doing pretty good at getting myself up very high on the leaderboard. You wanna focus on loops, okay? Your lines don't actually have to be loops. This game is currently paused, so when you unpause it, you can disconnect lines and move stuff around as you see fit, okay? Again, this game is in beta. I'm hoping that they will allow us to do curves and things like that. What you'll notice is that if I disconnect this... Oh, you know why? Because Alright, let me undo that for real quick. Alright, so now, down here, this is where your menu bar is. You can see I now have 2 subway lines, okay? If I disconnect this, you'll see that it goes immediately, even though it just as easily could have stayed on this side of the river, it goes immediately to the other one, okay? And then I've used up one of my tunnels. So that is, kind of like one of the flaws that's in the game at the moment that hopefully they'll be able to work out later. If I could just curve that path like this, that'd be sweet. Now, there are some other considerations for those of you who may be playing the game. Anytime that you connect 2 stations, even if you have to run it across the river twice, that only counts as 1 tunnel. Alright, so even though it looks like 2 tunnels here, that is in fact only 1. Down here, these are the number of trains that you have. If you have a line running and you decide that you want to have 2 trains, like I have a train here and a train here, both running on the red line, then, that's something you can do. And I can add as many trains to this all the way up until I have 5. I think 5 is the most that you can run. Or 4. I think it's 4. 4 is the most that you can run. Let me connect these again while I'm thinking of it. And so the object of the game is to move pedestrians from one station to another. All right, now let's say that this train comes in here. All right, it's going to drop off its triangle passengers because they're looking to get off at a triangle and pick up the circles. It will then move onto the next circle. These circles will get off, and you'll pick up the next 3. Okay. Now, the strategy of this game comes when you have a situation like this. Alright, this is the nightmare situation. These 4 circles in a row on this bottom line. This could easily become catastrophic if I allow it to continue, okay? And the reason for that is because, alright, so let's take this line, for example, which is very nicely balanced. It stops off at the triangle, picks up circles. Stops off at the circle, picks up triangles. Stops off at the triangle, drops off, triangles, picks up circles. And it continues to go like that, okay? Versus here, let's say the train leaves here, picks up 2 circles. It will drop off the circles, but then it picks up these 3 different shapes, and then it picks up squares plus 2 more triangles, and then by the time it gets here, it's still not dropping off anything because it doesn't have any circles to drop off. So that train will be full by the time it gets to the station. And this train coming in this direction will quite possibly also be full by the time it gets here as well. So anytime that you have 2 circles or 2 triangles in a row, that's a nightmare scenario. You want to avoid that at all costs. So that's why, for instance, even though I just as easily could have made this line go like that to have a double circle and it would just have been, this little diversion, instead I've decided to do this so that it goes triangle, circle, triangle. That's the best way to play the game. If you want to get to the top of the leaderboard, that's the way to do it. Other than that, it's about dealing with the randomness of the game and being able to, for instance, identify that you have accidentally used that tiny little space right there is actually a tunnel, okay? And so if you want to, for instance, needed another tunnel, you would just bend this out of the way so that you could then use this tunnel someplace else. Again, these are little things that hopefully they'll be able to fix in the beta. Maybe there's a way to, make sure that instead of the blue line being on this side, the blue line could be on the other side. Since you can actually transect lines as long as you're going through a station. So that should not be a problem. It doesn't have to snap to that river, but it does. So, that's one of those things. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this in motion, and then we're going to continue on with the rest of the discussion. This is extra carriages. You can see that this train over here actually has 3 carriages, so when it rolls into the station, it can pick up everyone and not just a handful of people. These are the lines, and then as they become available, you'll be able to move, different things. Strategically speaking, loops is the best way to go. Anytime that you have a line like this, it basically is dead, except in this particular case. This blue line right here simply connects this side of the river to that side of the river, and you want to do it with as few connections as possible. I can do it in this case with 4, and so that's what I did. But at this point, everything else, this loop will extend, outwards in this direction, and this loop will extend outwards in this direction, and then the red will just cover this side of the river. And then if by chance anything else goes wrong, I'll pick up another line and then run some sort of emergency. But for the most part, every game can be won exactly like that. And by won, I mean it's an endurance game, so you just literally have to wait as long as possible, and then hopefully, get your score to be as high as it can be. Alright, so now we're going to hit play again. You can see all the trains begin moving around and everybody gets picked up. Now in the upper right hand corner you'll notice that there's a clock. That clock corresponds to the day of the week that it is, and then as the clock goes around, once you get to the end of Sunday, you will then be granted a new something. And the first thing you'll get is a train, which is our locomotive. And then the second thing that you'll get is a choice of 2 random things. So your choices are tunnels or lines. In this case, I still have plenty of tunnels, so I don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to pick up another line, just in case something horrific happens. And then we wait another week. And now the trick is, as these circles and baseball diamonds and things like that pop up, you will have to handle that. So here I have a diamond out here. Boom, he's now part of that line. And that's what the game is all about. As simple as that is, though, it is actually very enjoyable. And it is a game that, I gotta say, I recommend, even in beta. I think it's going really well. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please click the like button, share it with your friends, or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this in the future. I'm Angelic Mayhem, and I'll see you next time.